So you've just unlocked Dynamites and you want to remain sane instead of, flattening the entire map. Well, here's a few fun things that you can do. Actually, the first thing that you can do is something that you're already looking at. Yeah, the first pieces of Dynamites that you place should deepen the place where you're collecting your water from. This means that even during a drought, your water pumps can work for longer and you don't have to worry as much. And of course, once you're done with improving your water collection center, you can deepen your entire river, actually. We're gonna wait until this drought is over so that it looks better. By the way, water only evaporates from the surface. So the deeper your river is, the more water that you have. It's pretty much a multiplier, okay? So a river that's going to be 3 times as deep is going to last 3 times as long. But keep in mind that you need to use dams in order to keep water in areas where you want water. For example, these mangroves over here need water to function. Otherwise, they're going to dry and they're not going to be producing food for us. So we placed a dam over here so that water can stay back here while, we basically drain everything else. Alright, so our drought is over now, and that means we are ready to blow this place up to smithereens. Let's go! Oh my god, absolutely lovely. That was amazing, okay? So that means that water is going to fill over here before it starts flowing this way as well. However, I am not really happy with this if I'm being honest, because I want these water collectors and water pumps to be able to use this water. For that, we're going to come down here into the ground, and what we are going to do is we are going to just place some tunnels. And what that will do is that will connect both of these reservoirs with each other at the base. And that's basically it. But we do need to give our beavers a way to, get down there. Anyway, they can do that on their own while you smash that subscribe button. The next best thing that you can do is basically underground wiring. That is actually how we're powering this wood workshop over here instead of, connecting it with some weird contraption like this one over here. Actually, let's get rid of this now. Instead of that, what we're going to do is we're going to replace it with an underground wiring system similar to the wood workshop one. For that, we're going to create 3 tunnels over here. And now we're gonna wait for the beavers to come over here and build these. Perfect. Now we need to destroy both of the ones at the edge, and we need to place vertical power shafts over there. And what we need to do is we need to connect them together underground like this, so that they can basically go over the path. Now here's the fun thing about buildings in this game. You can place them on top of the power shaft and they still work. Now this block over here is connected with this one, and you don't see any power lines. Next up is something that I've been wanting to do on this map for a while, but we need to record this video. Now this is a trick that is already well known and shared by pretty much everyone in the community, but it's worth sharing again because it is so ridiculously overpowered. You need to make sure that these canals don't actually connect with your water collection center, otherwise they're just going to cause everything to drain into this. All of your crops and all of your mangroves and everything is going to die. We can't have that. Now the best thing about irrigating like this is the fact that you're already going to have paths everywhere anyway, and all this does is just irrigate everything around your path. Now of course this doesn't actually replace this ridiculously overpowered water dump method, but hey, it's the next best thing, and especially for farms and this kind of an aesthetic, it works amazingly. Now I'm going to just take 5 seconds for this one. You can flatten the map if you want to. I'm not a fan of that, that just makes the game boring. So we're gonna move on from that. Next up is basically that you can create shopping areas, and that is also something that I enjoy doing. So what exactly are shopping areas? You see, in a lot of games like Timberborn, where your colonists actually need a lot of different resources, you also have access to buildings like a cafe or a marketplace or something, which basically collects all the different resources so your beavers can just go there and pick up whatever they want. Sadly, that is not the case in Timberborn, so we basically have to do it on our own. For that, I like to dig into the mountains like this and make small warehouses where we can place everything. Just make sure that you have haulers that can bring stuff over here. You can also set this to obtain the resources, however, that will increase the load on your haulers, so that's more of like a mid to end game solution. There we go, we've got everything, and this place is pretty close to our residential area as well, so the beavers can just hop in and out whenever they want. It also doesn't hurt to add some water bottles over here as well. Lovely. Now next up is basically something that only the Iron Teeth can do. And of course, once more, we are going to use tunnels for this. So let's just dig all the way over here. There we go. So here's the plan. We basically make these holes over here, and that one, and we place vertical tubeways over here. Just like that. Then in the underground world, we can place tubeways underneath platforms so they can just connect straight. And then when we come back up here, we can connect these together. Now I'm doing this because there's a lot of foot traffic over here, and ideally you would basically want your beavers to, not walk anywhere. Why would you let them walk if they can take the tubeways, So wherever you see a lot of foot traffic, yeah, put down a tunnel. And there we go. A lot of the beavers are basically traveling underground now, as you can see from those lights zipping back and forth. Lovely. Now, next step is going to definitely annoy a certain someone in the comments. I'm going to be using dev mode for this, and then we're just going to go back in time. So, what's going on? Well, you see all of this farming area over here, right? For food? Well, there's better ways to do all of that. You see, the way irrigation works in this game is that it spreads vertically downward without any problems. So as long as you leave a single platform up every now and then, you're going to be able to make vertical farms without any problems at all. So whenever you're destroying platforms, you can just, not hold the shift button, and that will show which area above ground will get destroyed. So that basically tells me that I need to leave one up over here, and then we can just destroy everything else. Just like that. And if I destroy all of this one, yeah, a single platform needs to be kept over there as well. Yeah, let's just destroy all of this rubble as well. So basically we created a gap of 1 over here. Well, you see, a lot of crops in Timberborn are actually just 1 tile high. And if we come over here and take a look at them, you can actually tell which ones are 1 tile high and which ones aren't. So over here, these canolas, 1 tile high. This one is also 1 tile high. This one is not, soybeans are not, and I believe corn is not either. By the way, if you want to be sure, you can always enable dev mode and open the blueprint of the object itself, and this Z index tells you how many tiles high the object is. Insane, right? So this is basically a late game overpowered way of farming with this method. While this one uses an absurdly low amount of water to irrigate this farm, yeah, this one lets you just multiply it several times over. Because let's just take a look at the math over here. That's 1 layer, then that's the 2nd layer, then that's going to be the 3rd layer, then the 4th layer, and the 5th layer down here. And just to show you guys, let's just make a hole down here. There we go. Yeah, everything down here is also irrigated, thanks to this one on top. Now, I'm not sure if the developers are going to keep this functionality, but as long as it's there, you can use and abuse it as much as you want. Now, there are just a few more things that I want to showcase. And the first thing that we need to do is make this one person jobless over here. So let's just extend this entire thing over here and over here as well. Lovely. And we're going to replace this fluid dump as well. But removing the fluid dump over here might actually ruin your farm. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. So first, let's talk about, the good thing about this. Well, you can completely just get rid of this entire section then. You can actually place more trees than you would have been able to otherwise. And that's basically it. That's the end of the good stuff. Just in case you need to, you can also just destroy 1 platform over here and replace that fluid dump. But remember that that fluid dump is going to fill up your entire canal now, instead of just this one section. You can of course stop that from happening by placing a sluice over here, which is technically also a one-way valve. However, the biggest drawback of using this system is that it's basically connected to your reservoir over here. So during long droughts and long bad tides, if this water runs out, then yeah, all of this irrigation and even the back one over here will cease to function. But hey, that's not really a problem because in the next video, we are going to be extending this dam so high that it basically never runs out. Now, I know that we made this entire dam setup over here, but there's actually a much better way to do this. Oh, would you look at that? We actually have a bad tide incoming. One second, let me display this properly. There we go. So you can basically place your sluices all the way back here. And what that lets you do is that lets you divert the bad water off much sooner. And honestly speaking, you don't even need to give this much space. You can just do it straight up. But there's just so many water sources over here that, I don't want this water to pressurize just yet. Oh, would you look at that? We need to remove 1 more layer over here just for, this entire canal system to look good. Now the bad tide is starting tonight and hopefully it works properly. There we go. Lovely. Not a single drop leaks. Oh, never mind. Some drops leak over here, but only at the start. It's good enough, okay? Now, of course, I can't really have this, so we're gonna go back in time again. There we go, it's like we never touched dev mode. By the way, we are going to use a similar method, but before we do that, we're going to pressurize this water source over here. So smash that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Join me next time as we build up this dam and also make an overflow. Because we don't want the water to overflow off over here. We're gonna close this place up as well properly. We want the overflowing water to go this way. Bye.